Urgent. Your soulmate needs you now. What just happened will leave you speechless. My beloved child, don't skip, stay till the end, because something huge is waiting. Something shifted in your soulmate's heart, and it happened so suddenly that even they were not prepared for it. A feeling they had been trying to understand became impossible to ignore. Your name, your energy, the memory of your presence, it all returned with an intensity they never expected. But here is what makes this moment different. This is not simply about missing someone. Something inside them has finally become clear. A truth they kept pushing away has risen to the surface, and once you discover what that truth is, everything about this connection may look different. Don't skip, because the most surprising part is still ahead. Something huge is waiting for you, and the reason your soulmate needs you now goes much deeper than you think. There was a moment recently when everything around them seemed normal, yet something inside them suddenly felt incomplete. They could continue with their day, smile, speak, and act as though nothing had changed, but one thought kept returning. You. And every time they tried to move past that thought, another memory surfaced. Something you said. Something they never told you. Something they now wish they had understood sooner. Stay till the end, because this is where the story begins to turn. Your soulmate may be realizing that what they once considered ordinary was actually rare. The connection they assumed they could understand later suddenly feels impossible to replace. And now one question is growing louder inside them. What if the person they were searching for was already standing closer than they realized? Don't skip. The next realization is the one that changes the entire meaning of what just happened. And now comes the revelation they were least prepared for. What pulled their thoughts back toward you was not simply loneliness, it was recognition. They began comparing the way other people make them feel with the way your presence made them feel, and something did not match. There was a depth, a calmness, an unspoken familiarity connected to you that they could not recreate anywhere else. That realization has opened a door they thought was closed. Something huge is waiting for you, because this may be the moment when hesitation begins turning into certainty. Stay till the end, because what happens emotionally after someone finally recognizes the value of a once-in-a-lifetime connection can be powerful. Your soulmate needs you now because their heart may finally be catching up with what their deepest feelings have been trying to tell them all along, and what comes next could be the biggest shift yet. My beloved child, something has changed inside your soulmate, and this time they cannot simply push it aside. Don't skip, because what they are beginning to understand could completely change the direction of this connection. There was a moment when they suddenly realized that certain feelings do not disappear just because you stay silent about them. They can be hidden, questioned, delayed, but eventually, the heart demands an answer. And right now, your soulmate is facing that answer. They are remembering the smallest details about you, the way your presence felt different, the conversations that stayed in their mind longer than expected, and the strange sense that something important remained unfinished. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The shocking part is not that they are thinking about you again. The shocking part is what those thoughts are making them realize about their future. Then came a realization they never expected to face. They started imagining what life would feel like if this connection truly disappeared, and suddenly, everything became clearer. What once seemed easy to postpone now feels too meaningful to ignore. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that some people enter your life and become memories, while others quietly change the way you understand love, closeness, and belonging. Don't skip, because this is where everything gets deeper. They may have believed there would always be more time, another opportunity, another perfect moment to understand what they felt. But now their heart is asking a completely different question: what if waiting too long means losing something that may never appear twice? That thought has created an emotional shift. Something huge is waiting for you, because the next thing they realize is even more surprising. But there is one truth still hidden beneath everything, and this could be the reason your soulmate needs you now more than ever. They are beginning to recognize that the connection was never powerful because everything was perfect. It was powerful because something about you reached a place inside them that ordinary connections never touched. Stay till the end. Don't skip. Because once someone realizes that a once-in-a-lifetime bond cannot simply be replaced, their entire perspective can change. Your soulmate may now be standing at that exact emotional turning point, caught between everything they once believed and everything their heart is finally revealing. And the biggest revelation has not arrived yet. Something huge is waiting for you, because what they may be preparing themselves to finally acknowledge could explain why this connection kept returning to their mind even when they tried to move forward. My beloved child, something unexpected is unfolding beneath the silence, and the next realization could be bigger than everything that came before it. Don't skip, because your soulmate has reached a point where ignoring what they feel is becoming harder than facing it. What once looked like uncertainty is slowly becoming clarity. They are beginning to replay moments with you differently, noticing meanings they missed before and remembering emotions they thought would eventually fade. But they didn't fade. Instead, those feelings became clearer with distance and time. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that the strongest connections are not always the loudest ones. Sometimes the connection that quietly remains in your heart is the one that eventually reveals its true importance. And right now, they may be realizing exactly how important you became. Here is where everything takes an unbelievable turn. Your soulmate may have tried to convince themselves that another person, another experience, or simply more time could make this connection feel less significant. But something surprising happened. The more they tried to understand life without this bond, the more clearly they noticed what was missing. Don't skip. There is still one enormous realization ahead. They are no longer remembering only the beautiful moments, they are beginning to understand what those moments represented. Comfort. Recognition. Emotional closeness. A feeling of being understood without needing to explain everything. And suddenly, what they once considered a simple connection begins to look extraordinarily rare. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. A question has started forming inside them, and once that question appears, it becomes almost impossible to forget. What if this connection was never meant to become just another memory? And now the deepest shift begins. Your soulmate is starting to see that the real story may not be about what happened between you, it may be about what remained afterward. Something remained in their thoughts. Something remained in their emotions. Something kept bringing their attention back to the same unfinished feeling. Don't skip, because the biggest revelation is getting closer. They may finally understand why your presence affected them differently, why certain memories still carry so much meaning, and why imagining a future where this connection is completely gone feels strangely incomplete. Something huge is waiting for you. Stay till the end, because your soulmate may be approaching a once-in-a-lifetime moment of clarity, the moment when they stop asking whether the connection mattered and begin asking what they are going to do now that they know it did. And what comes after that question could change everything. My beloved child, the silence is no longer empty, it is carrying a realization your soulmate can no longer overlook. Don't skip, because this is where everything that seemed confusing begins to connect. Something inside them has shifted from wondering to knowing. They are no longer asking why you keep returning to their thoughts, they are beginning to understand why. Certain connections can be forgotten when the moment passes, but others leave a permanent emotional imprint. Yours may be the connection they keep measuring everything else against without even realizing it. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The surprising revelation is that they may not simply miss your presence, they may miss the version of themselves that appeared when you were near. The openness. The comfort. The feeling that they could be understood without explaining every hidden thought. And once someone recognizes that kind of connection, pretending it meant nothing becomes almost impossible. But something even deeper has begun happening. Your soulmate is looking back at moments they once misunderstood and seeing them through completely different eyes. A conversation that seemed ordinary suddenly feels meaningful. A pause that once felt insignificant now carries an emotion they failed to recognize. Even the smallest memories are beginning to form one bigger picture, and that picture is pointing directly toward you. Don't skip. The biggest piece has still not been revealed. They may finally be realizing that what they were searching for was not excitement or perfection, it was genuine emotional recognition, and they had already experienced a glimpse of it with you. Something huge is waiting for you, because this realization creates one unavoidable question: if something this rare appeared once, can they really walk away without discovering what it could become? Stay till the end, because that question is pushing them toward an emotional decision they may have been avoiding for far too long. Now everything reaches a turning point. Your soulmate may be standing between two possibilities: continuing to remain silent, or finally acknowledging what their heart has repeatedly brought back to them. And this is what makes the moment so powerful. The answer is beginning to feel clearer than the uncertainty. Don't skip, because what comes next could be the revelation that explains everything. They are starting to understand that the strongest part of this connection was never one conversation, one memory, or one perfect moment. It was the invisible thread connecting all of them. The feeling kept returning because the meaning behind it was never fully resolved. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because your soulmate may finally be ready to stop running from the question that has followed them through every distraction: why does this connection still feel unfinished? And when they discover the answer, the next emotional shift could be impossible to ignore. My beloved child, what happens next is the moment everything begins to make sense. Don't skip, because your soulmate may have just crossed an invisible line inside their heart, a line between remembering you and finally understanding what you truly mean to them. Something huge is waiting for you. For a long time, they may have believed these emotions would eventually become quieter, that distance or distraction would make everything easier to explain. Instead, the opposite happened. The more they tried to place this connection in the past, the more certain memories returned with unexpected meaning. Now they are beginning to notice something extraordinary. It was never one single moment that made you unforgettable. It was the way countless little moments created a feeling they have struggled to find anywhere else. Stay till the end, because the biggest realization is still coming. Your soulmate is starting to understand that perhaps they were not trying to forget you at all, they were trying to understand why you became impossible to forget. Suddenly, another truth rises to the surface, and this one changes the entire story. Your soulmate may be realizing that the reason they need you now is not because they expect you to complete something missing inside them. It is because your connection awakened something genuine that they can no longer pretend they never felt. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you, because this realization can transform hesitation into clarity. They remember how certain moments with you felt effortless, how your presence could make ordinary seconds feel strangely significant, and how even silence between you carried something difficult to describe. Now imagine their surprise when they recognize that those moments were not as ordinary as they once believed. Stay till the end, because one question is becoming impossible for them to avoid. If their heart keeps returning to the same connection after everything else has changed, what is it trying to show them? And the answer forming inside them may be far bigger than simply, "I miss you." There is still one final layer they have not fully uncovered, and this is where the emotional pull becomes impossible to ignore. Your soulmate may be approaching a moment when thinking is no longer enough. They may want clarity. They may want to understand whether what they felt was shared, whether the unfinished feeling between you still has meaning, and whether there is something worth rediscovering instead of leaving behind. Stay till the end. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. The once-in-a-lifetime revelation is not that every unanswered connection must return. It is that some connections teach people their value only after enough time has passed for them to recognize what was actually there. And your soulmate may finally be reaching that recognition. The question is no longer why you keep appearing in their thoughts. The question becoming louder now is much more powerful. What happens if they finally stop resisting what their heart has been trying to understand? Because the next realization could change the meaning of everything that came before it. My beloved child, something has reached a point where it can no longer remain unanswered. Don't skip, because your soulmate may be entering the exact moment when everything they have been feeling finally becomes impossible to dismiss. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Until now, they could question the memories, explain away the emotions, and tell themselves that time would eventually make everything feel ordinary again. But one realization keeps interrupting that story: ordinary connections do not remain this vivid. Ordinary memories do not keep revealing new meaning long after the moment has passed. And now they may finally understand what has been happening. They were not simply remembering you, they were slowly recognizing the value of something they did not fully understand when it was right in front of them. That realization changes everything, because once the heart recognizes what truly mattered, going back to pretending becomes almost impossible. Then comes the thought they were least prepared for. What if the connection never felt finished because emotionally, there was still something left unsaid? Don't skip. This is where the story takes another unexpected turn. Your soulmate may be remembering words they almost spoke, feelings they nearly admitted, and moments when they could have been more open but chose silence instead. Those unfinished moments can suddenly feel much bigger when viewed from a distance. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They may now be wondering whether you ever felt that same invisible pull, whether you noticed the same unusual closeness, and whether you also walked away carrying questions you never voiced. And here is the surprising part: the possibility that you might have felt something too could be changing their entire perspective. What once seemed uncertain may now feel like an opportunity they do not want to misunderstand twice. Now the deepest realization begins to surface, and this is the one that could explain why everything feels so intense right now. Your soulmate may finally understand that needing you does not mean needing someone to rescue them. It means wanting the truth about a connection that became too meaningful to leave unexplored. Don't skip, because the final shift is getting closer. Something huge is waiting for you. They may be reaching the point where fear of uncertainty becomes smaller than the desire for clarity. Stay till the end, because when someone stops asking, "Why am I still thinking about this?" and starts asking, "What am I going to do about it?" everything changes. Your soulmate may be standing at that exact threshold now. The memories have already spoken. The feelings have already returned. The unanswered questions have become louder. And what happens when they finally decide that silence can no longer give them the answer they need? That is where the biggest revelation begins. My beloved child, the moment your soulmate has been quietly approaching may finally be closer than anyone expected. Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you, and this next realization changes the entire emotional meaning of what has happened so far. Your soulmate may have reached a point where remembering is no longer enough. Every unanswered question, every meaningful memory, and every emotion they tried to place aside has begun pointing toward the same truth: this connection mattered more deeply than they originally understood. Stay till the end, because the surprising part is what changed inside them. They may no longer be wondering whether they should care. They may be wondering why they waited so long to admit that they already do. And when that realization arrives, silence starts feeling different. It stops feeling comfortable and begins feeling like distance from something they genuinely want to understand. Don't skip, because what they are realizing next could be the missing piece behind why they need you now. Something extraordinary happens when a person finally sees an old connection with completely new eyes. Your soulmate may suddenly recognize that the moments they once questioned were actually revealing something important all along. The way they remembered tiny details about you. The way certain conversations stayed with them. The way your presence created a sense of familiarity they could never completely explain. None of those things seemed enormous individually, but together they form a picture that is becoming impossible to ignore. Something huge is waiting for you. Stay till the end, because this is where their perspective may completely reverse. Instead of asking whether they could find the same feeling somewhere else, they may be realizing that genuine connection is not something you simply replace on command. Don't skip. The once-in-a-lifetime revelation is getting closer. Perhaps what they kept searching for after you was actually the feeling they had already experienced with you. And now comes the question that could push everything toward its next chapter. What if your soulmate finally understands that the greatest unanswered mystery is not what happened before, but what could happen if both of you saw this connection clearly now? Don't skip, because something huge is waiting for you. They may be imagining a conversation where nothing has to be hidden behind hesitation, where the truth can finally be sp.